So today is Friday, December 23rd. We are in technically the first day of the second weekend for Avatar: The Way of Water. And this movie needs to have a second strong weekend at the box office. If it does well this weekend and it has some legs, it could likely make the amount of money it needs to slightly turn a profit, which would be good for Disney, considering they've already shot the third one. And I read something today saying that they've shot most of the fourth one, too. I didn't even know that one was going to get made yet. I thought it depended on how well 2 and 3 did, but apparently work's already started on that one. So we'll see what happens here. The Avatar: The Way of Water needs a strong second weekend at the box office. The weekend and the week afterward will go a long way in determining whether James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water will have a dominant box office run. The Disney movie is slated to be the first of 4 sequels to 2009's Avatar, which is the highest grossing film of all time. I don't agree with that. I do believe that is still Gone with the Wind. I don't understand why we're not adjusting for inflation here. Gone with the Wind is still the top movie. Tickets are also more expensive than they were back then. I don't think that that's fair to give that crown to Avatar, but whatever. Box office analysts often look to the second weekend drop as an indicator of whether a film will have longevity at the box office or may fizzle quickly. So that's what it's going to really depend on, the second weekend. One thing that's kind of funny, somebody pointed this out on Twitter. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, Avatar: The Way of Water sitting at 78% with critics. Puss in Boots has got a higher ranking. Just kind of funny. The audience scores are actually the same. I wonder, will this film put a dent in anything Avatar does this weekend? We'll see. I doubt it. But I think this movie will do well. So, another thing going on with this movie before we get to the big story. Indigenous people are criticizing the Avatar sequel for relying on tired tropes. In fact, Avatar: The Way of Water faces boycott over tone-deaf handling of indigenous cultures. James Cameron has also faced criticism for comments made after the release of the first Avatar, like, haha, we're going to go back to 2009 on you, James Cameron. 2009 comments. Come on, that's stupid. It's over a decade ago, but, nothing matters. Time-wise, he could have said it when he was 13. They still would have tried to cancel him. Luckily for James Cameron, the new improved Twitter doesn't allow for these kinds of boycotts to go very far, because a lot of the bots that back them have been kind of blocked out. So these people don't really have the same amount of power they used to have on Twitter. They still have some, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. But this is a legit thing. People are actually pushing to have James Cameron's movie canceled because the blue water people that live on a planet, not the planet Earth, on a different planet, in a fantasy world, have braids and use spears and stuff. So they were supposed to not look for inspiration in actual indigenous cultures. They were supposed to make up something else. This is just bickering to bicker. It's stupid. It's alien people. Who cares? But people are extremely up in arms about this. There's already been a bunch of stuff. I don't know if the tweets are actually captured here, but there's stuff on Twitter going all over the place. Like, do not watch Avatar: The Way of Water. They wrote on Twitter shortly after the film's release, join natives and other indigenous groups around the world in boycotting this horrible and racist film. That's right. The Na'vi, who are blue-skinned people on another planet called Pandora, an alien planet, are apparently representative of every POC person on Earth or some shit. It's dumb. But this stuff gets a lot of movement with the left, and they take this kind of stuff quite seriously. So I wonder if this will hurt the movie at all. Probably not, is my guess. Usually this stuff doesn't work at all. You can't boycotts are incredibly hard, and they never work. Just saying. But now on to the good news, the great news. It's always fun to see. Go woke, go broke. Disney stock on its way to worst year since 1974. Avatar sequel fails to make up for string of flops. Stock prices down 45% after sequel can't live up to expectations. James Cameron said the film needs $2 billion in sales to break even. The company is on pace for its worst stock market performance in 48 years. Disney Plus has also struggled, losing $1.5 billion in 2022 alone. Now, this isn't completely Avatar's fault. I want to make that clear before somebody in the comments goes crazy about it. It's a string of flops. Strange World, Lightyear, Willow. The list goes on and on. Andor, not living up to expectations. That series should have been huge. But the Star Wars brand has been so destroyed that nobody watched it. If you look up Andor, what's the press? No, why? It's so great. Why isn't anyone watching it? Or something like that. Willow, no one's watching it. She-Hulk, no one watched it. Strange World, no one went to the theaters. Lightyear, no one went to the theaters. They've had a lot of flops. And it's not likely to get any better from what I've seen. Now, maybe this year might help them because they're putting out a lot of Marvel content this year. And that could help them. We'll see. I think Ant-Man will do quite good. I think Guardians of the Galaxy will do quite good. I think the Marvels is going to be a flop, though. That'll just be more bad headlines for them. But their stock is not in a good place. When I looked the other day, it's at $85.52. That's bad when you consider like a year and a half ago it was like $120. So they've had a bad year. Bob Iger lifted it up a little bit when he came back, but it's dropped back down again. Bob Chapek wasn't totally the reason why they've been in such a bad place. A lot of the problems that Chapek had were started by Iger. So now Iger gets to sit in his own shit and watch it all go downhill again. He's just as woke as Chapek. They're not having a good year. Tangling with DeSantis in Florida over that bill didn't help. They lost a lot of money in that. He's not backing down either. This has been a bad year for them. Firing Bob Iger in the middle of the night on a Sunday didn't help. It made him look bad. So it's not completely Avatar's fault. But the reason that they've got that in there is Avatar isn't living up to expectations. It was expected that this movie was going to be huge. In the top 5 of all time, it's going to be a cultural phenomena like No Way Home, and that just has not happened. And it's not going to happen because, well, this movie's not Spider-Man, and it also doesn't have jet fighters in it and Tom Cruise. So I don't think this, I don't know. I've been saying $900 million. I think it's going to probably go over $1 billion now because it's at $600 million right now. I can definitely see it making at least $300 million this weekend. That put it around $900 million. And then it's going to have some legs. So I could see it doing, $1 billion. We'll see. But $2 billion, I just don't think it's going to do $2 billion. I don't even think it's going to do $1.5 billion, which is still not enough money. It's ridiculous. You need to plan these better. This is ridiculous that you need to make $2 billion for a movie to be successful. But it's not living up to expectations. And that, when you look at flop after flop after flop after flop, that just makes the stock go down a little bit more. So yeah, Avatar is a little bit responsible for a stock drop. Not major stock drop, but still a little. It was already dropping. It's just more bad news on the pile. It's throwing another burning bush on the pile. So Disney's not in a good place. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my locals.